deal about this rapping stuff anyway?
I'm on fire for it, baby. People wait their whole lives for that feeling.
Big deal about this rapping stuff anyway?
I'm on fire for it, baby. People wait their whole lives for that feeling.
We were supposed to love. You better hold it down. I was wrong on the phone. One that I love. I don't understand. You think I'm trying. I don't wanna do with my heart in your hands. Making demands. Unless we can be friends. But that wasn't in the plans. But we was on a man. But I couldn't really care. I should've played away. Now you trying to turn me out. Now you trying to turn me out.
Peace, what's going on?
But if you do, then you know.
Turn this down a little bit. Get into this build. Peace, family.
You know what's up.
Peace. Good morning, JT. Janae. How are y'all? We're gonna talk about this coming Sunday, August 26, 2018, where we have a full moon in Pisces. There's a lot of information on this video. If you want to follow along with me, the link to this article will be in the description. So be sure to check out the article. Be sure to read what I'm talking about because it gives you more elaboration. I'm just going to touch on some things that I couldn't touch on the article, give you more of my perspective. Just something that we do here every 2 weeks, where we elaborate on the full moons and the new moons every 2 weeks. So basically what we're doing here, I'm the Hoodmystic, representing Hoodmystic.com. This is astrology from my perspective. You'll hear astrology all over the internet. What I'll be elaborating on is some things, man. I'll be talking about a grand trine. I'll be talking about a kite, as well as some other aspects. The concept of initiation, energy, tarot, the Orisha of the week, some metaphysics, occult, and ultimately how we begin to live with intention, and what does that look like and what does that not look like. And so as we just fully elaborate on this energy, I wish that people would be patient with me. And to make this thing easier, make sure you have a pen and a paper so you can elaborate on these notes for yourself, or simply follow along with my notes. I just want to say peace to the family, say thank you and gratitude to everybody on the Patreon. That's patreon.com/Hoodmystics. And we also, Hoodmystic. And we also work for tips, paypal.me/TheHoodMystic. And all the links will be in the description. Hoodmystic38 at Cash App. So yeah, August 26, 2018, we'll be having a full moon at 3 degrees Pisces and 3 degrees Virgo. And so what does that mean? How is that showing up in our lives? How is that showing up in our daily experience? So we're going to look at this map initially. Peace. Peace, Amanda. Peace, Reflection. Peace, Hashi. Peace, Brittany, Angela, Janae, Z, Amanda, Chantel, Philip. Peace to everybody on the live and everybody who's like falling back, not really saying much. This is going to be about 45 minutes. We're just going to elaborate on most of the energy that's happening And also we're going to be leading up to it in a daily energy reading. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do subscribe. So I'm gonna give you the antithesis, but we're also gonna be building up to this daily throughout the week. So we're gonna take a day off tomorrow and we'll be right back on it on Monday. So just want to let people know that I take a lot of work and a lot of pride in my astrology and my work and my craft. So I don't take this stuff lightly. So you shouldn't either. A lot of confirmation, a lot of different things are happening. So just pay attention to this information, and we're just going to look at this map and then we're going to come back to it, because as you can see, you might see a triangle, but you see a whole bunch of different lines. And so I was going to put out things like point things out, like where everything is, but let's family just look at it, let it just sink in as we begin to elaborate on what's actually happening. So you see that big blue triangle, that's a earth sign grand trine, okay? And so that involves 3 planets and it involves 3 constellations. And a grand trine ultimately happens in a earth sign, fire sign, water sign. And so what we're dealing with is a earth sign grand trine that the sun activates. And so with this grand trines are great, but usually they need a catalyst or something to set them off. And when you have a catalyst or something that's gonna set it off, that's known as a kite. And so we'll fully elaborate on what a grand trine and a kite means. But in order to understand a kite, we need to understand a grand trine. And we need to be very clear on what this grand trine is and how it represents. Me personally, this sun is gonna be actually conjunct my natal sun, because I was born on 0 degrees Virgo. The sun will be actually at 3 degrees Virgo. So this means to me that there'll be a change in my environment. And also the sun being in Virgo in the first decan, it's a highlight of your skills, talents, and abilities. And so when we look at Saturn in Capricorn, that's dealing with either karma or dharma, and ultimately time. What are you doing with your time? How are you spending your time? Are you getting enough rest? Are you processing your life completely to the utmost capability, or are you just kind of dredging along? Are you just simply in the rat race? And so Saturn and Capricorn, all of these come up as trines. And so if you could actually change your environment, if you could actually highlight your skills, then you can get out of karma and into dharma. And this is a trine, okay? And so you may not notice this trine is going on until you have the moon come opposite all of this energy, providing the catalyst. And so what does the moon do? The moon says, show me your depth. What have you been doing? What has the work have you been creating? And this is not a simple depth. This is years in the making depth. What have you been doing in your free time? Have you been using your time? Have you been wasting your time? Have you been being constructive with your time? Because the moon is in Pisces opposed Virgo. And so as the sun shines its light on Virgo, it's going to see what you've been doing. And so as it activates Saturn and Uranus, they are asking questions, you know, what has this person been doing? And so this is not a fly-by-night thing. This is not an instantaneous thing. This is years in the making. This is something that you've been cultivating in your mind, in your spare time, with your hobby, something you've been crafting that people may not know about. But as the sun shines on Pisces, then people begin to know about it. And so this is positive, the connotation for which I'm speaking, but that's a minority of the population. A minority of the population have been spending their time positively. A majority of the population have been wasting their time and simply been living in a life where they are doing what people expect them to do, what they need them to do, but they haven't been taking the deep, careful preparations over these transits and understanding their spiritual technology and understanding their life ultimately. So it's a very interesting thing. But we need this tension. Why do we need this tension? Because without this depth, without this revelation, then we wouldn't change. Now, this is a good thing for all of us because maybe we haven't been using our time correctly. So this revelation should trigger you into doing something positive because life continues to go on. This isn't finite. This isn't the end of the road. This is just a full moon in Pisces, and this is a revelation. It's a cycle. It's an understanding. So let the sun being in this mutable sign, being in Virgo, where you don't have to be so fixated into thinking it's make or break, because Virgo is very mutable. I'm a Virgo. I'm very mutable. I can be different things at different times. You just never know with me. I owe that to my sun being in Virgo, because I can analyze and look at different things for what they are. So just utilize this energy for within yourself and just be mindful that change is what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to change. We're supposed to realize ourselves differently. The problem is when we want everything to be the same. We want everything to be exactly how we want it to be, and we don't want to change anything. That's when the problem comes. And so let's look at this one more time. Should we talk about the kite? Yes, let's talk about the kite. Let's just talk about the concept of a kite. Now, when you buy a kite, when I was a kid, my mom bought me a kite. I just thought that this thing was just gonna start flying once she gave it to me. But it wasn't that. It was a lot of little strings, and imagine me being 5 and unaware of the technology or the modalities of what needed to happen to fly a kite. I had string everywhere. The little bar was everywhere. The kite was all twisted up on me. Needless to say, no kite got to fly. And then later on in life, I took my son, who was turning 4 last year. We took him to the park for his birthday, and I bought him a kite. But instead of just handing him the kite, we prepared it, we put the boards together, we made sure that it was right. And then I said, son, in order for that kite to fly, you gotta wait for the wind, and then you gotta run to build up steam, and then it'll begin to fly. And from that process, his kite began to fly, and he was happy. I learned from my mistakes, and I was able to transfer that energy to my son. So now he understands the power and the wisdom, and that's just the metaphor and analogy for how we begin to work with our energy. Sometimes we think that, okay, I have these gifts, I have these abilities, I have this psychic, whatever the case may be, or whatever you think you got going for you. Okay, I have it. But how am I going to construct it to make it fly? It's all about how you begin to understand your modality and your technology, and begin to work with yourself and begin to build with yourself and become to explore that depth within you, which we all have. It's called the subconscious mind. It's called the collective consciousness. Anything that I do, I just simply pull from that which has already been created and create my content. This picture, I didn't take that picture. It was already created. I just applied it to the message. So everything's available to you in this moment in time, but if you aren't tapped into it, or you think that there's some perfection for which you need to strive to, well, that's not really understanding a kite. Because as we can see in the chart, if it can kind of stand out to you, if you look at the moon and the sun, it looks like a diamond. And it's a beautiful shape, don't get me wrong. And kites are beautiful, but they might be a bitch to put together. And it might take some time to put it together. And there's a lot of people who think that everything is instantaneous. All I gotta do is click on the button. Their children have been born into this world that think that life is as easy as clicking a button. And the cheaper, the better. The more invaluable, the better. And quantity over quality. All of these concepts run rampant, so be sure to be mindful as the sun opposes the moon, as this emptiness manifests more emptiness. See, but when you are full and you are dealing with your depth and you're focusing on your intentions and your purpose, then none of this shit begins to bother you. You begin to manifest that which you created, that which you've sown. This is why we do this on this channel. This is why we go from new moon to full moon. We set the intention and then we wait for the reveal. And then we figure out, okay, get rid of this, add a little bit of this, set that intention. This thing never stops. Every season we need food. I foresee as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna need food. So I need to get into tune to gardening. And even if I don't have a physical garden, I have a celestial garden, and I need to begin to cultivate and build that. And so if you've been following this channel over time, you good. If you're new to it, don't worry, because we never gonna stop this. And it's never gonna stop. So just understand that your flight, me handing you a kite, it doesn't come by chance. Me handing you talent, me handing you ability, it does not come by chance. It comes by careful preparation. It comes from deep introspection. It comes from looking at yourself in the mirror, and it may take years for you to figure it out. There is no instant, all of a sudden, magical, I figured it out, I had a dream, Martin Luther King. No. Get that out your head. I'm gonna be 80 years old talking the same way, probably doing the same shit. If it ain't on YouTube, if it ain't in front of people, it'll be in front of my wife and my children. Because this is something that this is my purpose. I'm okay with this. I'm perfectly fine doing this. I actually love it, more than love it. So the time and the energy that I spend on it, it is fruitful. It is harvesting. Needless to say, we begin to elaborate on the other aspects. We have Jupiter trine Neptune square Mercury. Jupiter trine Neptune and Jupiter square Mercury. Man, we talk about Jupiter trine Neptune so much on my channel, so be sure to be mindful of the daily readings if you're not into this, to fully elaborate on what's happening with us as far as this conscious development. Jupiter trine Neptune, it's a major deal, and we'll talk about it some more, but I'm not going to elaborate it. I'm just going to emphasize the square Mercury and how it shows up in our spiritual development. There are people who are initiated into secret societies. They don't tell you that they're initiated into secret societies, but they are initiated to secret societies. And they wear their aprons, they wear their badges, they wear their fezzes, and they look down on you because you're not initiated and you don't know shit. But indeed, just as the sun shines on my black ass, it shines on their black ass or white ass or yellow ass or purple ass too. Just as it rains down on my face, it rains down on their face too. So the energy that speaks to them speaks to me. The difference between me and them is that I take my orders directly from source. I do not have a go-between. So as we begin to fully elaborate on who we are as the tide shift, as the poles change, We understand that the establishment and the institution is one initiation, but life and adversity is a whole nother initiation that we have to begin to be thankful for this guidance through this matrix or this maze. And sometimes we bump our heads, sometimes it hurts, but ultimately we are being led and guided through. So this is an initiation of self. And really understanding that, okay, I have a higher self that I must tune into. And as I realized this and I began to work with this energy, and I didn't quit my job, I didn't break up with my husband, I didn't break up with my wife, I didn't leave my kids at school even though I wanted to. I still kept trying to figure out why this shit was happening. And I didn't stop asking why until I got an answer. And so that's more or less Jupiter trine Neptune. If you want to get a full elaboration, make sure you look at the article. I actually am one of those astrologers that write articles. I just don't be blabbing off at the mouth. I can't really, I started off just purely writing astrology and then talking about it afterwards. So I take pride in writing the articles. If you could just click on the link and just, even if you don't read it, just click the link. It's in the description. Thank you. Pluto is squaring Venus in Libra, and Pluto is squaring Chiron in Aries. And so a square is an obstacle, a square is a realization, and all of these different types of energies dealing with Pluto is requiring an energy outside of your human effort. It's requiring ashe. It's requiring you to build up spiritual energy. It's requiring you to understand life on a term outside of what you've already been doing. Venus in Libra is at home, meaning that she just simply won't settle for the truth. The whole transit through Venus is like, you've been really on some bullshit, sis. You've been really on some bullshit, bro. You've been really aligning to people that don't have your best interest in mind. And I'm just coming to take a look at you. What you've been doing. You've been so free and so thinking that everything is cool, but look at you. You a mess. You've been making bad decisions. And Pluto squaring Chiron and Aries is saying, okay, I have to begin to make better decisions. I have to begin to heal my mistakes that I've made. I have to begin to learn from my lessons. And that's a hard thing to do in this society because it's propagated that everything you do is right and everybody who says anything against you is wrong. So if you have that ideology and you accept that ideology, then this is a very difficult time for you because you can't be wrong. You can't make mistakes. Something was wrong with them. If you're in tune to self, if you fully realize that, okay, I made mistakes, but it's okay because I'm going to learn from that. And now I'm going to build up energy towards my future. And I'm not going to half-ass my future. I'm going to put 100% in my future. Okay, I gave this job 40 hours a week. Now I'm about to give myself 40 hours a week to either learn, accentuate, build, start, begin. All of those initiative type of words to your life and your understanding. And you begin to take it by the balls as opposed to you falling back and just waiting for shit to happen. And so since you know that shit is about to happen, you can play PS4, you can binge watch TV, you can just watch shit, you can just do shit, you can just chill out with your friends and just drink all day and just go out in the bars and kick it and just waste your time. Because the shit just gonna happen to you. It's just gonna be sent to you anyways. So you can go on the vacations and the trips and do all of this shit and waste all of your money because it's just gonna be sent to you on a motherfucking airplane one day. And then it's people who've been actually putting in the work, that have actually been developing their craft, developing their talent, learning how to play the guitar, Okay, I'm a good painter, but I'm still taking painting lessons. I'm still trying to learn shadows and definitions and learning different artist techniques and different songs and different musics and different shit. I'm just trying to expand and learn and build and be the best person that I can be. Just so on the other side, when it's a full moon, when it's a full revelation, I can receive that. See, we not wasting time in 2018. Some of you are, but you niggas is weird for that. You weird when you just want to chill and hang out and you don't want to build. You weird. Because it's people doing stuff and making moves and coming together and uniting, and you so isolated and triggered. Because of social media programming and not healing your trauma and not really understanding and taking yourself seriously. So input versus output, and the whole idea that this shit is going to be instantaneous because you watch one of my videos or one of Bobby Hemmett videos or one of Brother Panic's videos that you figured it out. Man, I've spent my whole entire life developing my conscious attitude. And when people would be like, Kyrie, I got the bottle, I got the blunt, I got the girls, I got the whip. All you need to do is show up. Come on. Bro, I'm really in the middle of this book, and I said I was gonna finish this book by tonight. Nigga, is you in school? No, I'm just trying to understand synastry. Synastry? Tenashi, nigga? No, synastry. How many friends I lost for this shit? You know, how many girls I lost for this shit? I can't even think of no instant way to gain consciousness, an instant way to begin to adopt and live a holistic life. I don't even, it's like, you know, it's like breathing to me. It's something that I do. It's not a trend, it's not a fad. It's something that it just comes easy to me. But enough about me. The tarot of the week. The sun falls in the first decan, which is ruled by the 8 of this. The moon falls in the first decan of Pisces, which is ruled by the 8 of cups. And the first decan of Virgo and the first decan of Pisces. And so on one side, you have the 8 of this, which is prudence, which is working hard and doing what you got to do to make it happen. Putting bread on the table, bringing home the bacon, you feel me? And then on one side, we got Mr. PS4, Mrs. Makeup Tutorial, but you don't got no makeup. You're just wasting time. And you're trying to figure out what's the problem. The problem is that time is not to be wasted. Time is to be used and cultivated and used and built and focused and endured and ultimately transcended. How do we transcend time? By focusing. Once you concentrate on something, once you fully bring it into full realization and you begin to work towards it, you are no longer in the construct of time. What am I talking about? You ever been so into some shit and then looked up and then 5 hours pass? But you ever been so bored, or you ever been working at a call center job and you done had 3 calls back to back, you done made 3 sales and look up and only 4 seconds passed? What the fuck? Time is conducive to your perception of an emotional frequency of joy. Time flies when you having fun. It's a cliche, but it's real shit. But not simply fun though. Like, you have to begin to develop a whole new system of fun. A fun that's not wasting. A fun that's not losing you. A fun that's building you up. Like ultimate soul fun. You ever had soul fun? I ain't never had soul fun. I think I'm having soul fun now, matter of fact. But ultimately, the 8 of this is not an overnight thing. The 8 of this represents patience, prudence. It's all about the work that you put into something and getting the work put out. In the Rider-Waite deck, it's the little man sitting over with his back bent on the pinnacle. Of course, he beating and it look like he working, but that's a pinnacle, baby. That's money. he building money. So when we begin to work, like, you know, I don't never really trip about spending 5 hours on, you know, a video and putting work into a video, because it's currency somewhere in the ether, somebody benefiting of it in the energy exchange. All the work that I put in, I know that is gonna come back at some point, and it's already coming. It's trickling in. I feel the little trickles coming down. I'm just waiting for that windfall to come down so I can, you know, be the suburb mystic, the billionaire mystic. Fuck the hood mystic. But, you know, that's the 8 of this, and the 8 of cups is more or less the opposite of that. And you just got to understand your time and your energy. See, if you're using your time correctly, you're not concentrating on some bullshit. Like the block with the 8 of cups is sex, wanting sex and not being moral. And there's a dualistic idea, because, you know, I'm an immoral person. Like, I've spent a lot of my life in immoral ass situations, but today, right now, I'm like moral as fuck. I feel like Bill Cosby before the charges. I feel like the upstanding man and shit. And I can't even imagine like hitting up a girl and be like, what's up, baby? With that thing hitting for? Like, I don't even got that in me no more. Like, it's just, peace, goddess, how are you? Like, you know, just want to conversate and have these conversations and build and, you know, just talk. Like, I just want to talk. I don't want to do nothing more, nothing sexual. And that's a good place for me. And I sound weird and I feel weird and I trigger some niggas on Facebook because I was like, you know, this shit is whack. Like, us always sexualizing these women. Like, let's stop doing that. You know, all of the spiritual dudes just jumped on my back. Like sex is spiritual. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And this is maybe how these transits is playing out in my life, how Uranus and Taurus is playing out in my life, how I'm looking at life different, how I'm fighting the urges of lust and I'm raising my energy up, and I'm not just simply lusting after people or women. And like, that's so much sadness and so much frustration when you probably could talk to a person and build with a person and get to know that person and either have that sex at some point or realize that this person ain't the person that you even want to have sex with. So I think communication and conversation is so important between men and women, and that's what I strive for every single day. Building positive relationships between men and women that don't have nothing to do with sex. That's just where I'm at, and that's just how I feel like this energy kind of shows up too, and how you're able to deal with that. Because if you're like, I just want to have sex with people though, like, why? You it's just like, especially consciousness and astrology and metaphysics and all that, we should be beyond that. We should be able to have a more transcendent conversation. It's just my personal opinion now. I don't want y'all to be mad at me. The Orisha of the week is Issue A. Issue A. Issue Anarchy. It's 3 issues, okay? There's Issue Anarchy Olokun, Issue A Bellaboro, and Issue A. If you want the correct spellings, once again, please go to the article to get the correct spelling so you can do your own research on these Orishas. Now, I'm not a Babalao. I'm not initiated in any Orisha nothing. Umbanda. I'm more of a Kimbanda. I'm more of a mystic, more of an individual. So my knowledge is based upon my own understanding, my own personal relationship with the Loas and how they communicate with me. And so I got a message from Ishu that I'm going to begin to share with the family as how it relates to this full moon in Pisces. Now the moon in Pisces represents Olokun and Yemaya. And we can't just access Olokun. We need a messenger because Olokun is deep in the ocean. And so Ishu Anaki Olokun is that messenger who dredges the depths of the ocean, dredges the depths of Olokun, and he gives it over to Ishu I Belabero, who hands it over to Ishu I, or Ishu A, whatever. And he is the one who holds the wealth from Olokun and distributes the wealth however he sees fit. So as we begin to deal with our wealth and financial stability, how do we access that? Inner wealth, though, we have to begin to fully align our brains and our minds and get fully accustomed to our offerings and our frequencies, and realize that our subconscious mind has to be realigned and refocused and recommunicated with. So we do that by thinking outside of the normal everyday human thought whenever we can, whether that's meditation. I've seen people create art. I've seen people make music. I've seen people do anything besides work a job to create this prophetic or mystical visions. And so we want to get beyond our limited everyday life and concerns and thoughts and ways of being to tap into this energy. See, if you're thinking of this thing as simply as a human being and you're not using your mind, as I begin to elaborate on Ishu, Anoke, and Olokun, and Ishu I, you're just thinking of it as like, what the fuck is you talking about? You know, because it's more to life than just the physical world. There is a whole world within you that you're not attuned to. And so let me just fully elaborate on the message that I got as far as understanding this, how I can begin to convey this to the people. So they say that Ishu meets you at the crossroads. And the crossroads simply mean our four ways of thinking. We have our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, our superconscious mind, and our divine intelligence. Olokun represents our divine intelligence, as well as like as above, so below, and our subconscious mind. And the person that goes in between our subconscious mind and our divine intelligence is Ishu, which is also our brain, or which is our conscious thoughts. So to understand how we begin to tap into our wealth, tap into our financial security, which is unleashing our talents, our hidden talents, our wealth, our creativity, and bringing it to the surface. And I'm not just talking shit on the internet. Y'all know, y'all be emailing me, y'all be messaging me constantly about the shit that be manifesting for y'all based upon y'all understanding of yourselves, and then bringing this shit to light. My man down in Atlanta, he emailed me damn near every day about a new mural that he painted for money. So this is not something that we just talking about for shits and giggles. We want to bring enlightenment and truth to the surface. And how do we begin to understand it? Is we have to understand that we have depth and we have connections. We got the plug. If only we could go within self and understand our technology as human beings and get out of what they're pulling us into. through the advertisement and the psychology and the psyops and the, you know, emotional pulls, and then your family caught up into it, and since they caught up into it, they pulling you into it too, and all you trying to do is figure this shit out. Like, what? Why? And this is why we talk about meditation being so powerful, because I've already experienced this. Even issue I didn't have to go deep into my centers, because I've already talked about this 6 months ago when there was a full moon in Virgo. That just lets you know that we've been building on this energy. So when this energy comes back around, we already on top of it. Like, oh, okay, we ready to receive the codes. And now, when you do your offerings to Ishu and you want to understand Ishu, and they say Ishu is the gateway to all the other Orishas, maybe you can understand it at a deeper level when you do your offerings to Ishu. Because you want to connect to your wealth. You want to connect to all of the different things that you are, all of the different things you possibly could be. And you're not limited to yourself to what you already have in your mind. I said this in my last video, I'm gonna say it again. I used to think that all I could be was a truck driver. Not too long ago, about 6 months ago, rather, when the full moon was in Virgo. And then some things started to change in my life. But we were able to be conscious about it the whole way. And me and my family were able to live our lives through intention. And some things had to trigger me to get to this point. Because trust me, doing readings and stuff like that was not on my mind when I lost my job. When I lost my job, I was thinking about doing Uber, drop shipping, doing all types of different things. Never readings, never astrology. Then I started doing this more, like the videos I started doing more, putting more energy into them. I got different type of feedback. Then I started getting a few different readings, and then I did a reading from Fallon. The love of my life, Fallon, she told me, you know, it's about to be some things happening for you. You need to start raising your prices and prepare for people to start coming and asking you for readings and stuff like that. And I said, okay. So I raised my prices, and lo and behold, that people started to come. And then I said, you know, I'm gonna write how many readings I need a month to pay my bills. And so I wrote that down, and within a week, I met that goal. And so I said, oh shit, I think we on to something. I said, babe, I think we on to something. We're gonna really take our spirituality seriously and intend our life. And so that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And there are different intentions, not even based on readings, that I'm beginning to see that even my intentions are limiting within themselves. So now my intentions are simply to align with soul and just to trust myself in every moment to be productive and constructive and moral, and realize that as long as I intend what my soul intends, that I'm Gucci. Because even in my confusion, even in my lostness, I was following the soul. And now I'm, you know, people talk about the music that I make and the things like that. Like, this music is 5 years old. I haven't made music in years. Like, you know, so it's just interesting how the soul works, you know, and how what you used to do with your time and how you do with your energy. So, you know, we went through the whole thing, y'all. We really did it. We really did it. And I told you it'd be about 45 minutes. And so we have 44 minutes. So just want to invite people to, you know, contact me for readings. Contact me for whatever, you know, hoodmystic.com, hoodmystic@gmail.com. I'm not even popping or busy or nothing, so like whenever people want to talk, I just send a message right back. Like, just real normal, I guess, you know. But if it comes to a reading, you ain't gonna get that off. So if you do if you do want a reading, hit me up at hoodmystic.com. Check the readings and consultations tab. Make sure you check out this article. Make sure I just uploaded some notes to the planets video, so if you wanted to follow along the video with my notes, please just look at the website, man. Got the videos and the notes up there. I did all of that this morning. Hey Nico, just wanted to get this off, man, get this out. Hopefully it was coherent, it made sense. You learned something, you understood the astrology, you learned some shit that you can begin to look into more, so you can get an understanding for it for yourself. And you know, if stuff was happening like in the comments, leave stuff in the comments. You know, I just want to know how this message resonated with you. Join us at patreon.com/HoodMystic, and we do work for tips. I put a lot of energy into this video, about 6 hours of labor, so you know, tips are accepted, man. PayPal.me/TheHoodMystic. Make sure you put the THE Hoodmystic. Cash App Hoodmystic38. You know, that's it, man. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace.